Well, it's that time of every weekish. Why am I in a different room, you ask? Foreshadowing, all in due time. But in the meantime, I'm going to sing you a song. I'm gonna read you a story. I wrote this story a couple years ago, and I just found it in a stack of old books. Haha, I'm actually reading a story on Storytime with E.T. Gulock. Crazy. We begin.
I don't want to be a blob.
Okay.
By Evan Thomas Gulock. Illustrations by Clove Wilkins.
I don't want to be a blob,
Said the blob one morning.
Being a blob is dull and boring. I'd much rather be something else.
It seems the author is trying to convey a journey we all go through to establish an identity that not only is agreeable to us, but agreeable to everyone around us. As the psychologist Erik Erikson once said, in order to create a proper identity, we must know it, our peers must know it, and ultimately, we must know that our peers know. Anyway, right, story.
Trees seem pretty happy being trees, swaying in the breeze. I could be sturdy and tall and full of green. I could spread my roots deep beneath the ground and stretch my branches high into the sky. Perhaps a tree is what I want to be. But every year I'd have to shed my leaves, and then I'd be cold and sad all autumn and winter. Maybe a tree is not what I want to be.
Interestingly enough, there's a thing called a pando, which is actually one tree but appears to be a collection of trees because they all came from a single source. Trees connected by roots that lead to one origin. And I often feel that the pando is a metaphor for the human race. We all branched out, but we're all still connected by our roots to a single source. Blob.
Just then, a cat jumped out of one of the blob's fellow trees.
Meow!
Said the cat.
You're right.
Said the blob.
To be a cat would be great! I could drink saucers of milk and play with balls of string. I could sleep all day and be cuddled by my humans. A cat sounds like the life for me.
Did you know that you can convey to your cat that you love them by blinking slowly? That was for my feline viewers. Go cats. Whoop whoop. Story, I am getting so distracted. This is ridiculous.
But what is this?
It's a dog!
Exclaimed the cat.
Run!
The blob ran, and as he ran, he began to have second thoughts about being a cat.
All this running is exhausting and frightening. Maybe a cat is not the life for me. How about a dog? They seem fast and strong and proud. Perhaps that is what I want to be. A man's best friend.
You know, dogs only have 2 sets of cones, which makes them red-green colorblind. Humans only have 4 sets of cones, while mantis shrimp have 16 sets of cones, which allows them to see 9 more colors than we can. Imagine a color you can't even imagine. Now imagine that 9 more times. I have a list of them here. Blorange. I imagine it kind of like blue, but better. Purpliful. Also pronounced purpliful, blurf, which I kind of imagine like the way sunsets smell, but if you were hearing them, visually. Greku, and of course Bab, Blob, right, story!
But now I know how cats feel, and I don't want to be the villain of this story. Besides, I don't much care for playing fetch.
The blob racked his brain, trying to decide what he could become that would make him most happy. Unfortunately, there was always something wrong.
It seems our friend the Blob here is trying to build a bridge over to a new, self-created reality. You ever notice how some bridges have "bridge may be icy" on the side? As if some bridges don't have the proper permits to be icy. And we'll sell that bridge when the water goes over it. Thank you. Oh, I didn't forget about the story, I just really needed a drink. And we're back.
I could be a bird,
Thought the blob.
but then I'd never have one true home. I could be a mountain, but then I'd be all alone. I could be a cloud, but when I cry, I would rain. All these possibilities might just drive me insane.
Whether you're finding yourself or creating yourself, it's all about time, and only you can give yourself that time. Time is an illusion, and I have a keen eye. Watches tell time. I was once in a watch shop that was known for its bicycles. But it sold watches, and inside this shop there was a crowd of businessmen all surrounding this younger-looking kid who was wearing a suit and a watch. And this kid looked arrogant, but kind of sharp, like he had already seen much of the world already. And he insisted on being called Drop the Boy, and all the businessmen referred to him as such, or just Drop, if they were on the right level. Hey yo, Drop! Drop what? You know it, you foolin'. Always stays fresh. It's like a Ziploc bag. You open it up and it always stays fresh. You rock, Drop. You rock. And so Drop the Boy was making all of the businessmen laugh, and Drop is laughing and he goes, and so the world is peopled with wonders. And so it is, Drop the Boy. So it is.
What do I want to be? I could be an instrument, but I don't know if I can sing. And even if I went as far as outer space, to be a star sounds much too far from where I want to be, what I want to be. But what do I want to be?
Who came up with soap? Who decided it was a good idea to rub fat on your hands to make it clean? Like, that plan passed the first phase of plan checking?
Just then, another blob came into view.
Why so sad, friend?
Asked the second blob.
I don't know what I want to be,
Said the blob.
I don't want to be a tree, and certainly not a cat. And when it comes to dogs, I want nothing to do with that. Well, I don't think I could be a bird, or a mountain, or a cloud, or an instrument, or a star either. What do I do? Well, said the second blob, how about a blob?
The blob scoffed.
But I don't want to be a blob. Being a blob is dull and boring. Is it? When you're a blob, you can turn into anything. But you can always turn back. When you're a blob, no one expects you to be anything less. And neither should you.
The blob thought and thought and thought. Then thought some more.
Thoughts are thoughts. Thoughts can be altered. Drugs alter your thoughts. Is it true that people used to get high off of permanent markers? They used to say that the effects wore off, but I always thought they were permanent. That ain't coming off. That's not coming off.
You know,
He said at last.
you're right. I got so distracted with wanting to be something else that I lost sight of who I really was. I am a blob. I am myself. Yay!
The end. What did you think, Jimmy?
What are you doing in my house?
I was just reading a story.
Get out!
What? Ladies, what do you think, Jimmy?
Get out! Get out!
I was just trying to read you a story.
Get out!
Do something weird.